Oh, my, oh, my. Look what is happening to these chaotic playoffs. Bucher, Fox Sports NBA analyst, covering the league since '93. He'll be on Speak today, FS1 after us, 2 shows after us.
Just one clap? I got one clap.
Well, you know, it's a small audience.
Yeah.
So now you have a different... See, I watch... Spoelstra's maybe the best coach. And Joe's probably over his head.
Yeah.
And the longer it goes on, the uglier it gets. Game 1, you're like, well, it's the Heat culture. Game 2, you're like, oh, it's a coaching mismatch.
Yeah.
Game 3 is like, oh, the Celtics quit on their coach. I don't think you have to change the franchise dramatically. I think you need a new coach.
That's it?
Yeah, mostly. That's it.
No.
You think there are sweeping changes?
I don't know that there's going to be sweeping changes because that's not the way Brad Stevens and before him Danny Ainge, they talked a lot about changes, but they ultimately didn't make a whole lot of changes.
That's true.
Right? So, and Brad Stevens is a former coach, as we know, right? So he's going to have some sentiment about not changing the coach right away and looking at maybe some of the other pieces.
Like what?
Well, look, the Jayson, Tatum, Jaylen Brown combo cannot be at the heart of your team because they don't push each other. They're too friendly. Jayson Tatum is the best player on that team. Jaylen Brown is the most aggressive on that team. But when you have Jaylen Brown constantly getting into Jayson Tatum's ear to say, hey, you got to get going, he's got to hold him more accountable than that. Like Dwayne Wade and LeBron James, when they got together, at one point, Dwayne Wade said, you have to take over, LeBron. Dwayne was the leader. It was a little bit of a different dynamic. Dwayne Wade was the leader, said, I'm at a point now in my career where I can't be that guy. You have to be the guy. And handed the keys to LeBron, and he took them, and they ended up winning a couple championships.
So I threw this out there, is that Tatum and Brown are excellent defenders.
Yeah.
Robert Williams protects the rim. They could afford, I think they take too long to get into their offense. And I think Marcus Smart, because of his defensive strength, has probably moved out of his peak. I think Tatum Brown still have peak years, prime years. I would go get somebody, and I'll just throw the name out, it won't happen, Jordan Poole. Somebody that's almost overconfident, gets you into your offense, can hit the three, can be a defensive liability. I don't care. I got plenty of defense here. I got 2 elite wing defenders, a rim protector. Move off Horford. It's old. Move off Marcus Smart. Can we get somebody? Can we give this team a quarterback? Brad Stevens knew this, by the way, and got Kyrie. It didn't work, right?
Yeah, but Jordan Poole is not that quarterback. Okay. Getting Jordan Poole would be an absolute disaster, Colin.
Okay, so
you have to let you've been trying to move Jordan Poole to the Celtics for about 2 weeks now. That would be an absolute disaster. And by the way, I'm not taking anything off of Joe Mazzulla's plate. The difference between him and Ime Udoka. Ime Udoka was a demanding coach. And if you look at the playoffs at large right now, the 2 teams that are going forward, the most demanding, authoritative coaches who have stuck with their program and have the front office's backing to say, no, we're doing it this way. Eric Spoelstra challenges Jimmy Butler. Mike Malone challenges Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic and everybody else on that team. Joe Mazzulla is not that personality. I was told he was coming in, but he clearly has not been. But if you look at, if we take a hard look at the Celtics going back to last year, what was our expectation, right? They came through the East. They added a couple pieces. They were going to use the disappointment in losing to the Warriors to push them to the next level. They were going to come back the way the Spurs when they lost to Miami with the Ray Allen 3. Like that was going to be the motivating factor that was going to put them over the top. And then Ime dips, and you have Joe Mazzulla, brand new to this, 34 years old, obviously a player's coach. And they're still doing the same things they did last year. They went to 7 games with a Milwaukee team that didn't have Chris Middleton. They played a Miami team and went 7 games that Kyle Lowry only played 5 games. That was compromised.
This goes back to so you're saying Mazzulla may not be great now, but if you really inspect this team,
yes,
the Tatum Brown thing needs to be broken up.
I'm not sure that there's a coach And there's a coach that could lead this team as constituted to a championship. And I'll admit, I thought they were.
Yeah.
I thought the leadership of Malcolm Brogdon, of Marcus Smart, of Jayson Tatum learning his lesson, like all that was going to come together, and that was going to be the driving force.
So let's look at this Miami thing now. So if I'm a Damian Lillard or I'm a free agent out there, I got Butler, I got a great coach, I got a great star. Bam has been really good. Mm-hmm. And I all of a sudden know they're not going to re-sign all these young guys who are playing over their head. They're not. They're going to let these guys walk.
Yeah.
Miami becomes a wildly attractive spot if I'm a Damian Lillard. Really attractive.
It fits his DNA, for sure. The downside, and this would be the real challenge, is he interested in going for a championship?
Yes.
Or is he interested in continuing to be the number one guy?
I think he wants to win.
It may be at this point.
By the way, Dame's the kind of guy that'll show up, and there'll be a lot of nights, the way he plays, he will be the guy, and Jimmy Butler will be cool with it. Well, remember, Jimmy's a 22-a-game guy in the reg season.
That's exactly right. No. And Jimmy is that way. I've decided Jimmy is that way intentionally because nobody grinds as hard as the Miami Heat. And Jimmy has decided, all right, I'm only going to give you so much during the regular season, but I'm going to make sure I'm ready to give you 16.
I can live with that.
The postseason. Yeah, and that's where I could see that working. Your Damian Lillard to Miami idea, I'm not going to say I'm going to co-sign it, but I'm willing to listen to that. By the way, your Jordan Poole to Celtics.
Okay.
Well, let's just pretend that didn't happen. Let's just get that out of here.
Okay. So I think it's not disrespectful to respect history. I watched the early 2000 Sacramento Kings, Lob City. Westbrook, KD, and OKC, the Harden Rockets, these Celtics. Young players ascending, a couple of young stars, and they just don't do it in the playoffs. So with Denver, I think I have every reason to go. Is the old head LeBron going to say, okay, whippersnappers, okay, Michael Porter, okay. These guys have risen to the moment. I don't think we're disrespecting Denver. I think we're looking at history, and there are these moments in time. Early 2000 Kings, they had the Lakers Game 7 and a horrible performance. Hardened Rockets, KD Westbrook's Thunder, Lob City.
Yeah.
These guys are breaking through it. But do you sense there's some – Malone's acting like the league disrespects them. Everybody knew they were good.
Yeah.
This moment in time, they've been great.
I believe that the disrespect is part of the secret sauce. I think Mike Malone appreciates that everybody is counting them out because that has allowed him to convince them to keep their foot on the pedal. They haven't relaxed. But what I see, and in looking over the teams that have won championships over the last 5-6 years, they've all been disrespected to a certain extent.
Bucks.
They've all been made of players. Toronto. Golden State's group put together. They've all, I believe we've run into an era now where we've anointed far too many players as superstars, and it's just a matter of time before they win a championship, as if they are entitled to winning a championship. And meanwhile, I'm watching Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, a Canadian and a Serbian, second-round pick. Jamal Murray we've never put him in that category.
Especially once he got hurt.
Yeah, well, but you think about it. He was 24 years old in the bubble and led them to the conference finals. Like, we were sleeping on Jamal Murray thinking, I mean, for me, it was like, I don't know how to weigh the bubble, right? It just was such an odd thing. And then he gets hurt, so you don't know. He's the real deal. But the teams that we're seeing win are the teams that you can even go to the 2020 Lakers. The Lakers, that group was discounted going into the bubble. They all haven't been given anything. They've had to earn it. And I believe that that's the difference that you're seeing in these championship caliber teams.
All right. So 1 year from now, LeBron's not going to be younger. D'Lo's not going to be more consistent in the playoffs. He'll be gone. Austin Reeves isn't going to become hyper athletic,
or he's going to be way expensive.
Yeah, and Anthony Davis, this is as healthy as he's ever been for an extended time.
Yeah.
There's an argument to be made in the weird West where the Warriors had the chemistry issue and have to reboot. There's an argument the Lakers are overachieving with this trade deadline roster.
Oh, yeah.
Can you not consider the standard of the Lakers, Ohio State football, Kentucky basketball is not roll it back?
Yeah.
Denver's not getting worse.
Yep.
I would take a big swing with this Lakers team. I think they have overachieved.
100%.
So we believe that. So
Yeah.
why not take a big swing on AD? You going to bring him back? He's got value now. This is not listen, this team a year from now is not going to be better.
Yeah. Yeah, look, what the big swing is, the biggest problem is LeBron's going to cost you a lot. I said it when he signed the deal. I think I said it here. They gave him the Kobe deal. He can't, as good as he's been, as surprisingly good as he's been at 38. He's taken up $40 million plus on your and there's plenty of intangibles there. But how do you put enough talent around him at this point for what he costs and what he is to be able to go get a championship? That is the challenge. Now, I've been really impressed by how he has been able to be more of a complementary player. He's let Austin Reeves play. He's given the ball to AD. He's found a way to still be somewhat of a factor without dominating the ball. But that's the heart of it. Like, you can move the other chess pieces around. You've still got LeBron James at 38, going to 39, slowly deteriorating. What do you do with that?
I think
and look, I don't say that with
J-Mac's rolling his eyes. This team's not better next year.
I'm rolling my eyes at slowly deteriorating. 22-10-9 in the series. That's deteriorating? Come on.
Well, no. But by the way, when you look at Jamal Murray and Jokic's numbers, he's a B player.
See, this is,
of course, he's like 15 years older than
But I'm
us.
saying
okay, but we can't keep giving the concession like he's really good for his
the
age.
old guy.
He's really good for his age. If we're talking about trying to build the Lakers or maintain the Lakers as a contending team,
right,
there can't be he's not going to the he's not going to the senior tour. Like, he's got to compete against these guys. And what I take issue with quietly, maybe not so quietly, is LeBron said, yeah, you know what, their supporting cast has hit timely threes, which is correct.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's true. The Lakers supporting cast hasn't. But the heart of why the series is where it is,
their stars are dominating.
Their two stars have been better than the Lakers' two stars.
No question.
Let's start there.
And, I mean, let's go three, is that the bottom line is, if you look at the history, like in the NFL, I always feel the Super Bowl champion has to have 7 elite players, hopefully one at quarterback, rush, end. In the NBA, if you have your 3 best players are in their prime, that really helps. Jokic is, Porter now entered it, and Jamal is. LeBron's not. I would argue AD is a very old 30. And Austin Reeves' prime, it's not Jamal Murray. He's a nice player.
Right.
So it's like the 3 best for Denver are absolutely significantly better than the 3 best for the Lakers.
Yeah, I would say the other aspect is that the Nuggets just have more two-way players. Like, going into this game, Darvin Ham is looking for, like, okay, I got Jared Vanderbilt who can give me defense, but he can't give me offense. I got D'Angelo Russell who can give me offense, but can't give me defense.
Well,
like, sometimes he can give you offense. Like, how do I put it? I'm always at a disadvantage at one end of the floor with my complementary players. Right. And the Denver Nuggets, KCP can defend and he can knock down
Porter
shots.
Defends,
Bruce Brown can
Gordon.
knock down shots. All of them. This Nuggets team is so much better suited to face the Lakers than the Warriors were. They have everything that the Warriors did not have.
And they're just, some of it is length and youth.
And they're in their prime. Like, thinking that Jared Vanderbilt and Dennis Schroeder were going to do the same thing. Like, everybody was like, oh, well, look what they did to Steph Curry. They made him work really hard. You know, Jamal Murray's he's going to have trouble. Like, Jamal Murray is 9 years younger than Steph. Steph was worn out by the end of that series.
35,
right?
yeah.
And Jamal's got guys who are spacing the floor, who are knocking down shots, which Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins.
It looks like the Denver
didn't do
Nuggets this year are the world's best basketball team. That's what they look like to me.
Me too.
And Miami's second. And fun, and I mean, there are no frills, man. It's paper plates and food truck, and I love it. But
Well, it's also why I see the Warriors running it back, is because the other thing those two teams have is they have continuity. Like, these are essentially the same teams. And I get my hat off to the Miami Heat. Duncan Robinson was a disaster in last year's playoffs.
Yeah.
And most other teams, they would have kicked him to the curb. They would have written him off. And they stuck with him, and now he is delivering.
the Heat and the Herd, we do not kick people to the curb. Bad segments, bad days, we've always got your back.
Case in point.
All right, good stuff. Rick Bucher.